Okay, I hope I'm doing this okay. I've never used this equipment before. Um, so my name's Shasta, and as some of you may know, I have um, a daughter. I'm a single parent, and so I just wanted to let you all know that's why I'm in a room with really bad lighting, because I'm actually trying to hide from her. She's refusing to go to bed, so I'm hiding so that hopefully she doesn't come busting in during the presentation. Um, yeah, so the career that I chose for the class was the addiction counseling. And something I think was interesting was I had a hard time getting just addiction. It seems to be that a lot of it is addiction, substance abuse, abuse counseling. And I could be wrong, but hopefully from my research, I found that it all kind of correlates in the same um, area. Which is actually one of the things that I thought was interesting about this is there seems to be a lot of area that covers, and you'll notice in my interview with Dr. Carol, that's something she mentions. She went into this type of counseling and then realized that she wanted to do other stuff as well, and so she kind of got to branch out to the point where she could pretty much just counsel anyone with any kind of addiction. But from what I found is this counseling is very personal, which I know is, I mean, all counseling. But this one tends to be one where you're dealing with people that don't don't particularly want to get help. Well, not always. They are probably wanting to get help, but sometimes you could be the people that are like sent clients that are court ordered, um, and dealing with people that might want to get help but then don't seem to want to do the work. Dr. Carroll mentioned to me about how you're dealing with people sometimes that will play the part and saying they're doing the work but then they're not, and so it's just a very personal, and it can be very depressing type, but you can work in all different places. Like I mentioned, you can work alongside um, a wide range of places. So I put up here hospitals, rehab centers, lock centers, so like prison, or any sort of like locked facilities. I know one of my friends who is graduating with a criminal justice degree in Portland State. Um, Her internship, she got to work at a teen facility, and she said they had two people that worked at that facility that were addiction counseling. So, but again, it wasn't just addiction counseling; it was mental health, and then addiction counseling was kind of just their another thing they did. And then all ages. It can be adults, children, although hopefully children aren't doing it. When I say children, I mean like teenagers. But yeah, hopefully older people. And like I already mentioned already, very personal. You're working with practical goals with your clients. And I didn't mention earlier, but like you can work with NA, AA, these programs that are all help to get people to stop doing whatever they're doing. So that's why I think it's unique. It's just a big opening, and it seems to be that if you're wanting to do a lot of the counseling part, you definitely want to get an MA, at least in counseling. But I've noticed that it's possible to do a bachelor's in psychology and then get a certificate. Although most likely, if you want to do a lot of the deep counseling, you'll need an MA in counseling. Excuse me. Okay. So the first program I found was in Oregon State University, OSU. And I forgot to put on there, but it's their Cascade campus, which is in Bend, Oregon. And theirs is a master's of counseling with a concentration of addiction. And so their program, you can go into a master of counseling, and then you have two concentrations you can pick. One was school counseling, and then this one is the addiction counseling. For admissions, pretty similar to most places. You have your online application, transcripts, resume. They have what they call a TSPC, which I mentioned is a character survey given an online application. Statement of objectives, which I think my video is covering, which is your personal qualities, values, professional related experiences, your highest hopes and greatest concerns about yourself as student and counselor, any experience with diversity. They're really big about diversity, which I thought was really interesting. Overall preparation into this field. They put a big emphasis on you need to be prepared to work in this area because it is a heavy area. And so that's a lot of way they want you to put in your statement, is just an overall feeling like you can handle it. And then just a readiness and being able to do grad school overall. And then like any other school, letters of recommendation. Excuse me. Something I noticed with all the programs, their costs really do range. OSU, they did fill it up between resident and non-resident, and then full-time, part-time. I put just resident on here just because there was so much. I didn't want to get messed up with putting in non-resident on top of it. But I did split it up into full-time, part-time. Sorry, my video keeps getting in the way. Yeah, so, oh no, I put full-time resident overall. And then you can see that there's year one total is 19,752, and then year two, 24,970. But their credits overall, I mean, it's not huge. I don't know why the first year there's such a leap in spring term. And then same with summer of second year. I don't know why. And then the estimated program related expenses, 2,500. The total estimate tuition and fees is 47,222. Time requirement for full time is just 2 years, which is good. Overall for full time, either way you do it, the full amount of credits that's required is 90 credits, which isn't too bad. So you have a choice of either doing full time, which would just be 2 years, and I broke it up, as you can see, with summer, fall, and winter, and how they break it up each year, and then part time. So part time, you just are going 3 years, and the reason is just to split it up a little bit, which is still 3 years isn't too bad. I'm not sure if you'll be able to read all of this because I don't know how the video works with all of this. Oh no. Sorry. Goodness. See if I can move. Okay. So, I know it's a lot to put on here, and I don't know if you really needed to, but I just wanted to show some of the classes. It looks like there's a lot of practicums, internship, developmental and counseling, social, cultural, and then of course you get into your addictive behavior counseling, theory and techniques, counseling 1 and then 2, research methods, lifestyle and career development, group counseling procedures, family counseling, applied psychopathology, diagnostics, crisis and trauma, grief. And so this to me, like I mentioned earlier, gives the feeling of, once again, like, yeah, concentration might be an addiction, But with the schooling that you're getting, I mean, it's giving you the family counseling, the trauma, the grief, all of it. So it really does help you to kind of get to go into a wide range of different places. For the second school, sorry, guys, I'm not good at this. So the second school is Lewis and Clark College, and I don't know if I mentioned before, but the OSU Cascades is in Bend, Oregon. Lewis and Clark College is in Portland, Oregon. And this one, their program is MA in mental health counseling, with a specialty in addictions, which is pretty similar to OSU. Again, pretty similar admissions application form. This one is a $50 application fee. I'm pretty sure OSU has an application fee, and I think I just forgot to put it on there, so I'm sorry for that. It does have the 3 letters of recommendation like the other one, a transcript. Their GPA requirement is 2.75, resume, and then they do interview, and they possibly might do more than one interview because they really want to focus on, getting to know you before you get into the program. And then questions for personal essay. What are the experiences that lead you to believe that this is an appropriate career choice for you? What are the values and concerns that motivate you to pursue professional training in this field? What type of professional work do you hope to do? Again, just getting to know you. I put on here, one thing that they do, Lewis and Clark wants to make sure is that you have a psychology background, whereas OSU Cascade, you can kind of just go in there with whatever bachelor you get, but it seems like Lewis and Clark is really big about you need a psychology degree. They say their programs expect applicants to be familiar with the field of psychology as well as basic concepts about society and culture. This requirement is usually met in one of 3 ways. Either you major in psychology and then you have a course in sociology, or anthropology, women's studies, or ethnic studies, or you have an undergraduate major in sociology, anthropology, women's or gender studies, or other interdisciplinary social sciences, plus an introductory psychology course. Or you complete the following MOOC course and present the midterm and final exams to a faculty advisor after admission into the program. So it seems like even though you may not have taken those classes, if you can show that you somehow know the area, that they may still accept you. Here's their cost. I really honestly had a hard time kind of understanding it on their website. But they have their on campus, off campus, and then they have you do certain classes, and then they have their civic program of addictions, and for that is 62 credits. And then so the total for that tuition altogether is $58,714. And time requirements: Master of Arts in Professional Mental Health Counseling and Addictions, 62 semester hours. The program is in 9 semesters, and I couldn't see, well, I guess they know what a semester is, but you can do part-time or full-time. You only start in the fall. They really want to make sure that you're prepared for the addiction counseling with general mental health and community counseling. Again, I'm sorry my video's in the way, but as you can see, they have a lot of different classes that you'll be taking. I thought what was interesting is a lot of these classes I am, as a psych student, I have taken myself, and so I think that's really interesting. But again, just like OSU, they kind of throw in everything. You have lifespan, practical skills for counseling, diversity. I've noticed they're really big on diversity, which I think is interesting. Child and family counseling, group counseling with children and adolescents, and then group counseling with adults. You have your drugs, brain and behavior. Drugs, brain and behavior, assessment, addiction treatment, trauma, treatment planning, counseling practicum, career counseling, mental health internship, professional career development, and then you get to choose a 1 semester hour of an elective. Excuse me. The last program I picked was Colorado State University, CSU. Their College of Natural Sciences. It's a whole separate program. And within that program, you have the psychology program. And then this particular program within the psych department is Masters of Arts in Addiction Counseling. Their missions must hold a bachelor's degree with an emphasis on behavioral health. That can include psychology, social work, nursing, or human development, which I have to say, off chance you'll see in my interview with Dr. Carroll, I didn't even know this, but she had a degree in nursing, and it makes sense, I just didn't connect the two, but that's off topic. Anyways, and then their minimum GPA is 3.0. Complete all coursework needed to be a certified addiction counselor level 1, which is this one because they're I didn't mention the school's in Colorado, obviously. And for Colorado, you have to have the certification in order to be in their program. Oh, it says not necessarily for admission to the graduate program, but in order to go on and become an addiction counselor, which makes sense. What I thought was cool about this program is there's no application fee unless you get accepted, and then you do have to pay a $65 fee. And just like the other schools, transcripts, references, they're the only program that require you to take the GRE, which I thought was interesting. Counseling applicants, you need to submit a resume or VITA, including your education, training, and work experiences, and then a biographical sketch of your interest in psychology and previous or current involvement in research or applied psychology work. And again, I think that's interesting. That's one thing I think is really cool about all these programs, is that you can tell that they really do want to know that, like, you really want to do this program because you want to go on and be in mental health, and then especially be in addictive counseling. And I think that's important to note because I think this is definitely a heavy job and career that one shouldn't take lightly. And it seems like the programs really put an emphasis on that. And I think that's, I really appreciate that. Their cost, resident, non-resident, total for resident is $31,022. Non-resident is $46,990. Their credits for their program is 42 credits, so not too much. And then they split it up into 2 years. Oh, I'm so sorry. And again, I put on resident, non-resident on here. Resident for year 1, total is $6,490. 6, and then non-resident is 13,909. And then the second year for residents is 6,371. Non-res is 13,784. I'm so sorry. I just kind of put some of their coursework on here. What I find interesting about this one is they only go for 2 terms, and I thought that was interesting. So first year you just have fall term and spring term, and then so fall term is 12 credits, spring term is 12 credits, and then in the second year, fall term is 9 credits and spring is 9 credits. And so it doesn't seem like it's a very heavy program, which I think I appreciate. And then as far as job availability, I wasn't sure if we were supposed to do it based on the program, and that's what I was going to start doing, but then I noticed it all kind of gave the same information, so instead I just kind of combined it all. For this school in particular, I did put that there was a notice on their website that they said that currently in Colorado, as well as in the nation, there's a shortage of licensed addiction counseling or counselors, which I did notice doing my research. They anticipate graduates of master's programs in addiction counseling at Colorado State University will be highly employable. So they're saying that because there's such a need, that there's a really high likely chance that if you go through their program, you will get a job. And then, like I said, I just added some other stuff on here. So I put a mental health counselor, an annual salary is $43,300. But then when I put up a substance abuse counselor, it was the same. And then a rehab counselor was $34,000. I did want to put, just because I thought this was good to know, it says that the Bureau of Labor projects mental health, substance abuse, and behavioral counseling jobs will increase by 23% by 2026. The rise in need of mental health counselors isn't coming because of mental illness skyrocketing, but it's because people now are able to receive help because of more opportunities in insurance and government help, which I think is interesting. I didn't really think about that, but it is true. Thankfully, the government's kind of starting to pay attention to mental health, and so that does make sense why now there's more jobs. They state that in 2012, the mental health counseling jobs were 128,400. They also predict that the number will rise to 165,100 in 2022. I put this on here because this was really interesting to me. Within your job, if you're an insurance carrier, your average is $28 an hour with an annual salary of $58,230. And then you have your state government, your social advocacy organizations. If you're a doctor or in a physician office and then a college, you can see that it all changes. I kind of already said this. This is another website I found, and so that was there was kind of mix as far as like an actual total, but this one says that in 2011, the average salary for substance abuse counselors was $38,560. In 2014, it estimated occupation to increase to 41,870. And then it just explains that often if you hold a master's or doctorate level degrees, you usually get higher salaries, which makes sense. It is estimated that the top 10% of professionals employed in this field earned an annual wage of $61,420. In this field, aside from educational level, is location. Location's really big, which makes sense if you're here in LeGrand versus New York. Like, there's definitely going to be a different need in the cities. And then, as I mentioned earlier, just some kind of the different jobs. You can, obviously, substance abuse centers, outpatient mental health centers, nursing homes, residential care facilities, social services, family services, correctional facilities, prison and juvenile detention centers, public and private hospitals. Those are all examples. And yeah, so that's the end of my presentation. I hope I didn't drive you all too crazy with having to move the video around. I'm sorry, I'm just having a hard time with that. But yeah, and then I'll have the interview come up next. Thank you.